This is Reverend Deborah Hafner. We're going to be talking now about the sexual health frameworks, which will provide a framework, an overview for all of the work we'll be doing during this course. Way back in 1991, while I was the director of SIECUS, we convened a project to look at the purposes and goals of comprehensive sexuality education. A guidelines task force came together and determined that the real goal of comprehensive sexuality education was the formation of sexually healthy adults. We'll be talking more about what's a sexually healthy adult in the next unit. I took that work when I became a minister, actually while I was at seminary, and started to think about what's a sexually healthy religious professional and what's a sexually healthy congregation. One of your required readings for the MFC is A Time to Build, Creating Sexually Healthy Faith Communities. You'll read more about these concepts in that book. That work was further developed in our work with seminaries around the country. And so in 2008, we created the criteria for a sexually healthy and responsible seminary. Most recently, we've been working with the Unitarian Universalist Association on what's a sexually healthy and responsible denomination. That work has resulted in this report, Towards a Sexually Healthy and Responsible Unitarian Universalist Association. The Religious Institute spent the better part of a year reviewing all of the criteria and looking at what the Unitarian Universalist Association's strengths are and where its weaknesses were. In fact, the requirement for this competency came out of that needs assessment. You can download a copy of that report at the Religious Institute website at the link shown here. Or you can go to uua.org and read it on the Unitarian Universalist Association website as well. I'll give you a minute to copy down the URL. We looked at things like the policies and procedures and bylaws of the association, whether women are fully included in leadership and in clergy, full inclusion of LGBTQI people, how the denomination is committed to creating and sustaining sexually healthy religious professionals. What were our congregations doing and what were their policies? We looked at lifespan sexuality education, and of course our OWL program got gold stars. We evaluated whether we were committed to sexual abuse and harassment prevention, as well as whether as a denomination we practice prophetic witness for sexual justice. You'll see more about that farther down in this course. So what's a sexually healthy religious professional? Well, at the end of this unit, you're going to have an opportunity to do a personal self-assessment. We know that a sexually healthy religious professional is knowledgeable about human sexuality. And we're going to be providing you with some basics in this course, but also hoping that you will have had a basic human sexuality course in your own college preparation, and that you'll do your own reading and keep up with the science. We want you to be familiar with our tradition and teachings and texts on sexuality issues, and hope that as you go through the course, you will be doing theological reflection on these issues. We'd like you to look at and think about what's the impact of race, class, gender, and heterosexism on sexuality issues in ministry. We're going to give you some basic training in pastoral care and counseling on sexuality issues. And we hope by the end of this course, you'll be more comfortable talking about these issues with congregants from the pulpit in your offices. We hope you'll be skillful in preaching about these issues, or at least be willing to give them a chance. We'll spend a whole unit looking at personal limitations and boundaries, and how to deal appropriately with sexual attractions. This course will provide the basics for a foundation in boundaries and attractions and misconduct prevention, but we hope you'll seek additional opportunities for learning as well. We want you to be knowledgeable about our denomination's policies on sexuality, and we hope you'll speak out for sexual justice as part of our Standing on the Side of Love campaigns. Most importantly, we hope that all of the Unitarian Universalist clergy can be role models for a sexually healthy adult. So what do you need to get there? What do you need to make sure that you're a sexually healthy religious professional? Well, we know that you'll need training in counseling and education and speaking about these issues, and we hope this course will help. We're going to give you opportunities to examine your own history and attitudes, and there'll be a variety of different workshops throughout this course. Worksheets and opportunities to journal and even to interact with each other. As I said, we want you to take an Attractions and Boundaries workshop, and we'll provide some of the basics here. A sexually healthy religious professional doesn't end, though, at the end of a course or at the end of our training or even after you pass the MFC. We'd like you to look at doing ongoing sexuality training and updates, and we're going to be providing resources, referral networks, and lists for more organizations. Here's one: the American Association of Sex Educators, Counselors, and Therapists can help you with referrals, as well as with people in your community who can help you when you need assistance on sexuality issues. And of course, you need organizations and listservs to keep you up to date on current events and resources. You may be asking yourself why these are so important. Why do we need to be sexually healthy religious professionals? This slide talks about all of the things that adult congregants grapple with. In my own move to ministry, from my previous work as a sexuality educator, I kept thinking, how is it these subjects haven't been covered? Your congregants, your future congregants, your congregants in your internships, or those people you serve if you're not a parish minister, but those you serve in the world, are dealing every day with sexuality issues. You'll learn a lot more about some of these issues in this course. Some of them are struggling with past experiences, that they were pregnant as teenagers. Maybe they gave children up for adoption or have had abortions. Maybe they've been victims of bullying and harassment, rape, sexual abuse, or exploitation or incest. Maybe they've been divorced or have had other relationship issues. Maybe they've come out and have their own stories. For many, many people, they carry a history of shame and guilt and fear, often contributed to by religious institutions. Others of our congregants are dealing with these issues right now, today, next week. They may be facing an unintended pregnancy. They may have just suffered a miscarriage or had a stillbirth. They may have a sexually transmitted disease. They may be struggling with infertility. Some of your congregants may have HIV or AIDS. Some of them are struggling in relationship issues, having relationship problems, being victims of domestic or sexual violence. Some of them may have eating disorders. Some of them are getting older and will be needing help with things like what are the issues related to menopause and perimenopause, or aging for men and erectile dysfunction. Relationship issues come in. Could be sexual harassment on the job, or hopefully not, but possibly even in the church. They could be struggling with sexual dysfunctions in their relationships. Some of them are single adults who are struggling to be in relationships. Some of your congregants need marriage preparation. Some of them need your support during divorce or when they become widow or widowers. Many congregants are dealing with their children's sexuality issues. Teenagers who are acting out sexually or struggling with gender or orientation issues. Some of them may even be worried about their aging parents and their dating habits. Some of them struggle with blended families, bringing in more than one set of children into a marriage. Or how they are dealing with extramarital relationships, from those that may be in open relationships or may be involved in polyamory, to those who are struggling to understand and recover from the affairs and infidelity of a partner. Some of our adults are still struggling with sexual orientation and gender identity issues. And then there are a whole host of issues that I call 21st century issues. Issues related to antidepressants, which depress sexual functioning. The internet has brought in a whole series of new issues around our sexuality. Some of your congregants may be having online affairs or may feel that they're compulsively using erotica. Some of them may be becoming involved in alternative sexual communities on the internet. There's issues related to sexting and our children, but also among adults who make unwise decisions. Some of the people in your congregation may get in trouble, even legal trouble on the internet, not being able to differentiate between erotica that's safe and legal to use and that may be illegal and may cause them even to be arrested. And then there are things like the fact that there are more single older adults than ever before. And what are we doing for our midlife and older adults around relationships, around sexuality issues? And what are we saying to our young adults about cohabitation? Young adults are getting married later than ever, on average over the age of 28, and for college-educated adults even older. So every day, every week, our congregants are sitting in our pews, struggling, often alone, often in the silence of our communities, with these issues. We hope by the end of this course, you'll have a better ability to handle them, to break the silence about sexuality, and to create a sexually healthy faith community. Now, let's go to our next segment.